Hello and welcome into Pajama Chat. Today we're going to be looking at some bosses. So actually we're going to be looking at just specifically the category of the cube bosses. So the cube bosses are elemental cubes that all have names. So they're called things like electrohypostasis, but then they have a secondary subtitle of a name. And those names, if I remember correctly, I would have to double check Google really quickly, all come from the Ars Goetia, which a lot of names that are within Genshin and Final Fantasy XIV and a bunch of other games, all come from Ars Goetia and a couple of other older scripts and stuff. So the first thing that's interesting about these bosses is pretty much all of them are within this cube centric area. So we are in a Paimon ruin. You can tell because of the Celtic knotting along the edges here. It has this star motif to it within its Celtic knots, and then here's our cube. Now pay attention to these pillars on the sides here. See how they have like cube icons? Whenever I get close enough to the cube to activate it, it's going to see that I'm here. So it wakes up and it's got this design to it. See how the cubes all illuminate with something? With a color to them? Isn't that cool? Now, this one you can see is named Alep. And then you can also see that this has been infused with Electro along its side. Now, this one is fun because it does rock, paper, scissors, and then a drill, and then it becomes weak, so then you can start hurting it. But this is the electrohypostasis. So, again, there's rock. What's also interesting about this one particularly is it's next to a watchtower. Not a whole lot of them are next to watchtowers. Paimon Ruin era watchtowers. We're not quite sure why, but they just aren't. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next one we know of, which is the Anemo Hypostasis. So these two were released during 1.0, so no need to fret about that. So the Anemo Hypostasis is located in kind of like northeastern Mondstadt area. You have to get through a couple of hilly churls and some trees along the way. But it also is within the same cube-centric star Paimon ruin type space. Okay, now again, this one is going to illuminate. This is Beth. So you can see her designs on her cubes are a little bit different than the Electro one. Normally she doesn't open with that. But see, her pillars illuminate with green, like a light green. And she's attuned to Anemo. Now, are these natural beings, or are these beings that were created by somebody? We don't really know. But like, look, she's this cool little cube fairy. Isn't she pretty? I think Beth is probably my favorite. So that is Electro down here next to Cape Oath. And then we have Anemo over here. So what's the next one we could look at? Let's look at the ice one over here in Dragonspine. Now, for those of you who started playing during 1.0, you would know that Mondstadt and Liyue had access to only Mondstadt and Liyue. Dragonspine was not part of the launch. So the Cryo one was added during Dragonspine. So this one is on the same sort of platform. However, you can see that her platform is not based around, we don't have the pillars for her to like infuse. Instead, we have pillars so that we don't freeze to death. If you were here during the opening event, you will also notice that this area is where a gigantic special cryo Regispine was, the gigantic ice flower. We fought that. Sorry, I had to pause and take a drink. So the cryo one is called Daleth. So this one obviously does like sparkles and stuff. This one looks like the ground was destroyed and the ice has repaired the broken section. But again, this one does like snowflakes and stuff, which is super cool. Fun to see. All right, so there's that one. Now let's take a look at the Geo one, which is over here. The Geo one takes a minute to walk to, which is a little annoying. So The Geo one is located in Guyun Stone Forest. So like I said, it takes a minute to walk to it. Let me make it daytime really quick. I don't want to be exploring this area in the dark. That's boring. And you won't be able to see as clearly what I'm talking about in some sections. So there's that too. Okay. So it's actually right there. You can see its little tower because this one is part of the 1.0 grouping. So it has a tower that it will infuse with. If you have max stamina, you should be able to swim across to it. Let's see if I can. Oh yeah, I totally can. Otherwise, you have to walk around on the right side around the areas. If the hilly turtles do follow you, don't worry, they can't swim. They will die while swimming. It looks like I'm gonna die, but I'm just about to make it. Okay. Now again, this one is part of 1.0, so it has its pillars. So we get close to it and we activate it. And see, its markings are a little bit different. They're a bit more angular rather than spirally. The Geo one is called Gimel, Gimel, Gimel. So this one, of course, activates like this. This one's a bit annoying because it bounces around from pillars to pillars. I did recently find that if you have like a fire character or an archer character, you can hit it while it's up there as soon as it's there, as soon as its shields go away. Haha, you missed, sucker. So that is Gimel over here in Guyun Stone Forest. So that is 4 elements. Well, okay. Are there any more in Liyue? No. Are there any in Sumeru Jungle? No. But there is one in Sumeru Desert. Because remember, the desert used to be a jungle section. So the Dendro one is really interesting because it is actually like inactive, if that makes sense. So to kill the Dendro one, you are required to have a Dendro character because you infuse it with Dendro energies. So once you like break its shield and stuff, it has the little things on the side to try and break it up. So we're in the desert, right? But like, look at this verdant area, this verdant cave. So we don't have our towers again, but we still have our star Paimon platform. Flying in from above, you can see how cool these things look. So here's our Dendro one. Zayim, or Zayin. Is that an N or an M? I can't really tell. So you can see that this is like dirty Dendro colors. So what you do is you damage Zayim just a little bit, just so that like their shield goes away. And you use our Dendro energy as like living Dendro energy. And so you purify it with living Dendro energy. And that causes it to become living again. And so it inactivates. So there's that one. So, okay. That was wind. Well, electro, wind, ice, Dendro. Well, where's fire? Fire is actually way over here in Inazuma. Way over here in Inazuma. So we haven't really gone to Inazuma so far in Pajama Chat. Inazuma is a bunch of islands far across the ocean side. So this area you can see, of course, it's ravaged by war. Why Natlan does not look like ravaged by war, we don't know. Never mind. Different topic for a different movie. But there's burns and char marks. So again, we don't have the towers for it to navigate to, but we do have our star platform. And here's our fiery buddy. What are you called? Ayan? Aim? Is that an M or an N? I can't tell. Ayyn. Ain. So the fire one is kind of annoying because you basically are required to have a water character to break down its shield so you can deal with it. It rolls like a Sonic the Hedgehog ball like basically most of the time, which is annoying. But you can see that like its cubes are... It's kind of watery for it being fire, right? It's kind of watery. So there's that one. So have we seen all of them? We haven't seen the water one. The water one is... Where's the water one? over here. So the water one is over also in Inazuma. It's on Sangonomiya Island. And it's a, I wouldn't say it's easy to get to, it's a pain to get to. So you can actually get to it from two different areas. If you remain up here, on the ground here, I believe there's like a hole or something you can fall in over here or something like that. There's a way you can fall in from like above to get to it. The way that I learned how to get to it, because I did all the quests and stuff, is you open up a hole in the wall, because otherwise it has a barrier blocking you. So you open up the barrier and then you're able to get in. But like my friend hadn't done the quest, so like she went in from above, like up there from above. I have the barrier open, so I believe it's right here if I remember correctly. Yes, it is. The water one behaves like the water characters we have in game, where they use water to heal itself. So okay, this is our first one since 1.0, Liyue Mondstadt areas, that does have its towers still, interestingly enough. So as we get close to it, this is probably one of the ones that's the most intact because all of its towers are here, the entire circle is here, and the circle's not damaged in the center. And see, it's a gigantic, this is He, or He. So you can see that its star infuses. It has little slime buddies that it summons. And then this heals it, because like look, the little plus symbol. That heals it as it goes. And then you can see that its pillars are attuned to heal it. I like these little slimes, it looks so cute. Look at that, it's such a cute little slime. Now again, are these created by human hands or are these created by something else? Because like this would be Sealy area, Nation of the Sealies, Paimon ruins. Like this is very odd, you know. I did not think that would heal me. That's interesting. So are there any other cubes that we can think of? Yes, there's one cube over here. This is a very odd cube. So this is a cube that we can surmise was created. So we are deep within some ruins. These are Paimon. Again, I keep wanting to say Conria, but these are Paimon ruins, Four Realms Gateway ruins. We are deep under the ocean. Well, not deep, but under the ocean in Inazuma. And look, there's a cube. Now look, we are within architecture, like man-made areas of the same era of what we were looking at before, right? Because we have our Celtic knots and stuff like that too. But maybe this is later in time because this one clearly looks like it was man-made. And this one is called a perpetual mechanical array. And then it has an SLALD code, a perpetual resonance SLALD. So SL/ALD, that is a kind of code word that applies to Conrian created, specifically Conria, not Paimon ruins like I was mistakenly saying before. Conrian created because it has the core within it. And so it kind of behaves like the other cubes, but not quite. Is that all of them? I believe that's all of them. Let me double check the archive really quick. So, oops, wrong one. Living beings. So we have our elemental pieces. So we saw the fire one, we saw the water one, Animo, Electro, Dendro, Cryo, so it's got snowflakes on it, and Geo. And then we have this oddball one that's man-made. Let me go find that one. It falls into the construct categories with the automatons. So these automatons are all created by Conran because they have this oddball, like burnished brown, brassy color, clay color to them, along with orbs that are their core. So it's not active because it's sitting down asleep. You can see in its image, the eyeball is the core. The eyeball is the core. The eyeball is the core. This one has a core deep within like its jaw or within its serpentine structure. But we look at the cube and you can see that like he has a core deep within him as well. So that's super nifty. Like here are the cubes and then here's one that like clearly looks like it was man-made, as the other ones look like maybe they are created by they're natural part of the elements or something. It's just a little bit of an oddball thing. The one more thing that I wanted to show you here briefly, really quickly, is there's a circle, like the boss type circle that we had just seen with the cubes, on the map over here, but there's nothing assigned to it. It just exists. There's no boss, there was no quest, there's nothing assigned to it. It just exists out here. So usually whenever we get like a boss that we can attack, it would be this, but like there's nothing here. My frames are dropping as I rotate my camera from the rain. Like Pokemon Scarlet Violet, where your frame drops in the rain. So here you can see this is not quite the exact same. Like it seems like some of them have a little bit different circles. Maybe some are more designed than others. This one does not. This one does kind of have like concentric circles, but you can see that the concentric circles, this is more star than circle. Like when we were looking at the Hilly Churl pot city and cooking pot area, that was just concentric circles, not star points like this. So the reason I think of these as like Conrian type things is because this is basically a compass rose where you have north, south, east, and west, and then the compass rose always have northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. But in the center we have this Celtic knot of the Four Realms gateway kind of symbol, which again Paimon does not have on her stomach. So what is that a pillar of? That white beam. Must be an angel statue. Because that's usually the ones that are that tall. So yeah, it looks, it's so odd. Can I please enter this? Thank you. Because again, there's nothing fancy to it. Isn't that odd? Now, I will show you one more boss area. Not really the boss itself so much as the boss area of it. So if you go to Inazuma and you go looking to the south, you see this shredded hurricane storm that's happening. And so there's a boss right there in the floating arena. But down below, this mountain that has been completely destroyed. Gotta go pretty far down. Boop. If you go down below, you will see that deep within the core of this mountain that has been destroyed and that we uncover. So this is all flooded by water whenever you first get here. You have to clear those little like Tetris cubes on the sides. See 3 dots, 2 dots, 4 dots, 6 dots, or sorry, 9 dots. You have to clear those to drain the water. And once you do, this looks identical to what we saw for the cryohypostasis. The flooring is the same, except instead of it being covered by ice, it has a hole that we can enter, which is super interesting. And as we go into it, we start to see that there are ruins underneath here. So does that mean that that random circle that's within Fontaine has ruins deep within it? And then we go farther down, we can see that there's another star with another hole blasted within it. Are we supposed to be able to like go down in that one circle area? Is that what we're looking for? There's one other that has a circle. It is in Sumeru. Let me find where it is on the map here. Chasm. There it is. So this is called the Ruins of Dari. Dari is a very insulting word. It should not be in the game in English. It basically means godless in a very not so nice way to say. For some reason, the Sumeru Academia believes that that's an okay term to call the nation of Conria people. Instead of calling them Conrian, which is the name of their nation, and that's what they are, they think it's okay to call them godless. An insulting word that means godless. You do not follow a god, which, yes, that is what Conrian is, but you're saying it in such an insulting way. So, now we have ruins that look like Paimon ruins, right? But now they're being attributed directly to Dari, which is Conria. So now we are back to having things being a little bit askew. So there's a Shrine of the Depths, which tells us that maybe that is connected to the Conrian people. And then as we go farther down, we start to see that there are, again, a bunch of things, I'm waiting for my stamina, that all look like they're attached to this nation. Let me make it daytime. That look like the Paimon ruins that I've been talking about before for the Four Realms Gateway. But now the game is telling us that these are related to not the nation of the Sealies, Paimon Age ruins, because of the Paimon knot. But like, look, here we have a gigantic tree growing out of it. And then we have all these ruins. I'm trying to avoid the ruin guards that are here. The ruin guards are Conrian. We know that because of their design, their cores, their coloring. But we have this gigantic tree. Maybe this is a piece of the world tree's root. We don't know. But we have a circle that has this Celtic knotting, but we're missing like the same marking that we saw in the other areas. We go all the way down, and like it's supposed to be similar to the other, and yet it kind of is not. But we go through, and like there are markings that show that this is Paimon ruins, because we have the Celtic knot designed right here. Right? We can see it. We have underneath structures. So we do know that Conrian is a nation that exists underground. So like this being underground makes sense. But it doesn't make sense because up to this point, these ruins, these markings have not been attributed to Conria. They have been attributed to Paimon, which again makes it worse and harder to call them Conria ruins versus Paimon ruins, which just makes life a little bit more difficulty. As we get farther into Pajama Chat, I will show you the door, the what I believe is the door. There we go. What I believe is the door to Conria, the nation itself. I did not intend for this video to go on so long. I'm so sorry. I wanted it to be nice and short and cozy like all the other ones. But here we are. All right. Feel free to let me know if you want to hear more of my lore thinking ramblings. This is more lore, but I find it interesting as like I love seeing these assets being reused in different areas of the game. And it's very interesting to me to see like this flooring structure has been assigned specifically to bosses, and then you go to one area and there's no boss there mysteriously. And then you go to another one and it's not that it wasn't assigned to a boss, it's that it wasn't assigned to a boss. It was assigned as a doorway so that you go beneath it. And when you go beneath it, there's a whole bunch of underground ruins underneath it. Like that level of complexity is super interesting to me, and I would love to see them really build out that section of the game. I don't know if they will, but I enjoy that section of the game. All right, have a lovely day, have a lovely evening. If you like this very, very long video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, be sure to hit the like button, and I will see you guys later. Bye!